everyone. It's approximately 7:48. Welcome to the North Miami Sunshine Meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call, please.
Thank you, Chairman. At 5:47 p.m., Chairman Desume,
Here.
Board Member Timothy,
Here.
Board Member Charles,
Present.
Vice Chair Estime Irvin, Board Member Galvin.
Here.
Chairman, you have a quorum to proceed.
Thank you so much. We'll stand for Pledge of Allegiance, and then we'll go into the action of discussion. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, thank you. Item for discussion and action, and we have one item for discussion and approval process of the North Miami allocation of the affordable housing unit within the CRA project calendar year of 2024. Madam Executive Director, you have the floor.
Agenda Item 1, discussion and approval of the process for allocating North Miami CRA affordable housing units and North Miami CRA funded projects for calendar year 2024.
NMCRA staff is requesting that the NMCRA board authorize a process for the allocation of NMCRA affordable housing units in NMCRA funded developments for calendar year 2024. As background, we have listed the list of affordable housing units that will be available in NMCRA projects that are expected to come online in this calendar year 2024. The first project is Gardens Residences, which is located at 1195 Northeast 126th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161. The NMCRA investment in that project was $8 million of infrastructure grant dollars, plus 50% TIF through the life of the NMCRA, not to exceed $7 million. We have the project has a total number of 384 units, of which 38 units will be set aside for the NMCRA to allocate 80% of AMI residents in those units. The expected availability is June of 2024. The occupancy criteria for this project are listed on your staff memo. And the second project is Residences at Nomi, which is located at 950 Northeast 124th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161. NMCRA's investment was $8 million of infrastructure grant dollars, no TIF incentive. The total number of units in that project is 175 units. The NMCRA has 40 units, for which 10 of those are allocated for 60% to 80% of AMI, and 30 units are at 80% to 120% of AMI. That project is also expected to come online in the summer of 2024.
A real quick question.
Yes.
Is this the one for seniors 55 and up?
That is correct.
Okay.
And the third project that is listed is Griffin Park Estates, which is located at 475 Northeast 125th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161. The NMCRA's total investment was $1.617287 in infrastructure funding. There was no TIF allocation for this project. There's a total of 28 units. Of those 28 units, 5 units are set aside for 70% of AMI throughout the life of the CRA. Again, this project is also expected to come online summer of 2024.
And out of the Griffin Park estate, out of the 5 units, there's no, there's 28 total. From the 5, do we have any, there's no requirement yet?
So we don't have any requirements for the project
Okay.
2 or 3 as of yet. The only requirements that we have right now are for the first
From
project.
the first two or just the first one?
Just the first.
And I would caution board members, as we discussed with the attorney earlier, there might be some strategy stuff that individual members, we may want to talk about in terms of some of the criteria that we have here, so we don't want to put, I think the executive director will talk to some of us. For example, not all of them have the same criteria, so we don't. So we want to make sure that we have the best thing for our, for our buck. Dealing with some developers, the first one, which is the garden residence, they have some stuff that I think we agreed that we should talk to the developer in terms of what they could do. So we don't want to call some of these out if people did not know. They're like, oh, if he's asking that, then let me just go ahead and put this in and this and this and that. Because This is really, really crazy.
And, Mayor, to your point,
Yes.
because some of them have already started leasing and people have already started acquiring about the units, knowing that previous elected officials have publicized that the city of North Miami has affordable units, it has kind of created a media storm, especially for me, because most of them are in my district, so people automatically assume that,
I could imagine.
hey, I need to be on a list or something, you know, or they're confusing old housing and social services processes with this one and so forth. So I think,
There's a lot of confusion going on.
yeah, but I think what we as a board should, I guess, consider and talk
process.
about, the process.
Yes, yes, and I
Because,
agree.
yeah, because I've had discussions with several developers, about their process. To your point about the criteria, there's nothing that we can stipulate in our infrastructure agreements about the criteria. It is basically their criteria that our residents would have to meet. Is that correct?
At this juncture, no, because those are all, these are all executed agreements.
Okay.
Moving forward, if we wanted to, while we're crafting new agreements for new developers, maybe that
We
is something
should,
we could
yes.
consider. But at this juncture, with executed grant agreements, these are all projects that are about to
It's
CO.
about to come up. Yeah.
So we're not making any changes to any of these agreements tonight? I mean,
No, not yet. Yeah,
Staff is
just
simply
the-
looking for direction as to the process
The
that the board
process of-
would want to see, and also provide different, some additional information. For instance, I have included in your packet legal support for having a local preference for North Miami CRA residents, North Miami, City of North Miami residents as well, if that was a route that the board wanted to take. You have legal support for doing so, but again, staff just wants to know what is
Or
the
the-
process
or-
by which you want to allocate the current set of units.
Mr. Chairman, I'm
Yes,
sorry.
sir. Go
Are you
ahead.
looking for us to make new procedures for the existing 3 projects that you
Yes.
just presented to us tonight?
In a sense, what we're looking for is, right now, we are tasked by our agreements to provide, so for instance, with the first project, there's 38 units
how?
that are, so the CRA under that agreement is responsible for providing those 38 residents. So staff is looking for direction from the board.
On how to do
How would the board like us
the
to,
process.
what process would you like to do?
Moving, and then this was a
Moving.
process that will, you know,
Moving forward,
Forward,
yes, this is the
we'll
process that we will
adopt
go
whatever.
for all the future developments coming up. We would just like to have a process that's in place that we can just move
So
forward with.
This is where I keep getting confused.
Mhm.
Are you looking for us to set procedures for these 38 units in the first project, et
Yes.
cetera?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And then because the other one, those procedures will be different because they seniors. They 55 and up, so it may not,
Right.
so the age,
The criteria will be different.
Criteria
Those
will be
aren't
different.
on here.
It's
It
on
is,
here.
it's
on there.
that second,
You're
the
gonna have to
second.
explain to me.
Okay.
What the heck we're doing here tonight? What's
Okay,
up?
so tonight, what staff is looking for, and I hope I'm projecting loudly enough, is direction
In the
on-
mic.
so by- the way by which we will provide the names to each developer for who gets to have those units. The developer will have their own vetting process. However, the CRA, under the agreement, has the initial responsibility of providing who should be vetted for those units. So there are many ways we can come up with those names.
Right.
Staff would like the board to direct staff on what process
That's
that
the
could be.
best
That
Are
could
you
be a
giving us
lottery.
any suggestions?
Right, so there are many ways. We could do a waiting list, we could do a lottery. Staff would recommend doing a lottery because it's very transparent. It is, you know, that's not something people can necessarily argue with. It's a pretty fair and transparent process. It's a process that we currently use to select our residential rehabilitation grantees. It's a process we're familiar with, so it would not be a deviation. But again, staff on its own doesn't want to make that
Of the
choice.
38 units, I'm just using the first one, sorry, Gardens, that you're up front, so I'm just using them. Of the 38 units that are at the Gardens that we need to provide names for,
Correct.
we have full claim to those 38. There's no, like, previous drawdown on that number that we.
No.
Okay, so you're, okay.
if I may,
Go ahead.
because we've had this conversation at length as well. Well, I've had this conversation at length
Right.
with North Miami CRA staff. We've seen several processes in the city of North Miami. There was once upon a time that it was first come, first served, first qualified with housing and social services, and that's when we had the line of people waiting outside,
Right.
sleeping because they wanted to be one of
Yes,
those
and that was
first served,
horrible.
first come, first qualified. And from then, we switched on to the process of
Lottery.
a lottery, which made it more easier, which made it
Right.
more open, and it just kind of created a free fall. I think,
That-
for me, that would probably be my
that was-
best, my
yes.
suggestion, but the only thing that I would add, and I think that's what she brought forward, is the local preference. We want to make sure that we're giving our
Yes,
North Miami
absolutely.
residents, you know, whether we put a year cap or 2-year
Right.
cap, how long do you have to be a resident of North Miami
Gotcha.
to qualify for this additional bonus pool so that you qualify?
Absolutely.
And it's not just someone coming from Miami Gardens to
Right.
say,
So
hey.
a lottery for those,
Within the,
a lottery, but you get preference if you're an
Miami.
existing North Miami resident over the last year.
year or
Are
2
you looking
years,
for us to set that parameter?
is that?
Are you looking for us to set that
Yes.
parameter, 1 year, 2 years?
Correct.
Yes.
All of it. We would like to know if you'd like us to do direct us to do a lottery. If you would like to say for an MCRA residents, you would have to prove that you were a resident in the
Whatever,
CRA
okay.
boundaries for however many years. That entire process is what we're looking for tonight so that we can initiate that process moving
Can
forward.
we do CRA boundaries 1 year, city boundaries 2 years?
If that is the board's will, absolutely.
So would that mean that they have to be a city resident for 2 years and then the CRA 1 year?
Right,
Well,
that's
right,
just
for sure.
off the top of my head.
All right, no,
just
no,
to
that's,
make sure
that, yeah, that's,
You know, for instance, most of my district does not live in the CRA, so I always
Understood.
have to think of it that way.
yes, yes, of course.
If somebody who lives on, right by Johnson and Wales, or I don't know, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
that's not in the CRA, they can still get a preference on this, but not
Okay.
outweighing the preference of those who are already in
Already.
the
in
CRA.
Right.
the
So to be clear, you would say that if you were living in the CRA for 1 year, but you were living in the city of North Miami for 2 years,
you-
that would have equal footing?
Yes, that would be good.
That would have? or
I'm asking the
would
question.
not? That's not what he said.
Would or would not?
No, 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 that preference would go to the people who live in the CRA.
Got it, okay.
For a year.
Okay.
But then, rather than then open it up to all of
No,
Dane
no,
County,
right, then
there'd
you'd
be
have a
like
secondary
second
preference.
tier for
Perfect.
people who live
Yes.
in the city, and
Yes,
then,
for-
Well,
years.
I have a question then, because I think we will satisfy Scott's point and your point, Madam Executive Director, if we say if you live in the city within 2 years, and then 1 year preferably within the CRA, that solves everything. So
Yeah.
then
That
we're not
could-
worried about anybody from anywhere else coming in, because it's 2 years, period, and then whatever the pool may be.
2
Now,
years, I'm sorry, 2 years in
2
the
years as a resident
In
of
the
North
city.
Miami.
In North
then
Miami.
You're eligible
Yeah.
to, to go in, and then the preference will be, a 1 year CRA preference, within the boundary of the CRA.
Would you do this based on a scale? Like, how are you, or is it just,
We could do that now.
Or, so just for a point of clarity, let me do it the opposite way. Let's say we have a resident who lived within the CRA boundaries for 1 year, but that's the entire time they've
That's
been
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
city of North Miami. They've not been in city of North Miami 2 years. That would still suffice?
No.
No. Okay, so you'd still have
But,
to,
Right?
right.
no, I'm cool with it, sufficing.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm just looking
Then
to,
that-
I get people who live in the CRA get preference.
Do
And
they
it's
have
only-
to?
It's only 38
Yeah,
units.
They don't
No.
have
oh,
to.
they don't
Mr.
have to?
They do not
Chairman,
have to.
Chairman,
Yes,
Chairman,
yes, go
as
ahead.
Chairman.
of 5:56, the
Yeah, yes.
Vice Chair Estimate Irvin is present.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
So
if
we
I,
don't-
Go ahead.
if I may,
Go ahead, sir.
if I may, quickly, that was my question to you, Madam Director. So for people to qualify for this unit, do they have to live in the CRA boundary?
This is the,
It's
what
us.
the board is
Exactly.
going to
No,
decide.
give me
tonight.
one. Just give me 1 second. What I'm trying to see in here,
Uh-huh.
if that is not a factor, so we can just set it as 2 years, North Miami residents for 2 years.
Yeah.
You
could-
understand? That's where I'm heading.
You can.
Mm-hmm.
Again, tonight really is whatever
Yeah,
the board
because-
wants.
Yeah.
So
So,
if
you know,
People
just
gonna be within the CRA anyhow. when you
Exactly.
Right,
see it.
majority will be.
Yeah, so it
So-
doesn't really.
residents of the city of North
Yeah,
Miami
we
for 2
try
years,
not to,
that would fix that.
The
up.
councilwoman said, and I think that's our point, somebody from outside who comes in from another city, I won't name what city, but it's a housing crisis out there, and it's unfair if we're not giving a front end, at least to our residents. Somebody who's been renting for 2 years, I think they should be, should be eligible to enter
Okay.
the raffle.
And I have another question. So those units, will they be rental or
Yeah.
All of
Yeah.
these projects are rental
Rental.
units.
rental units?
Correct.
Okay.
So we,
Yeah, I'm probably splitting hairs, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, because 38
Yeah, it's
spots,
not much.
15 spots, that's gonna fill up so fast.
No, but even if you say 20 and 10 city, and then to be safe, and 20 with it, I think I would be okay with it. It doesn't, as long as they 2 years, it could be, we could say 20 CRA, within CRA, and 10, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I think
To-
I
to
would
make
be
it clear?
complicating it. I
Complicate-
didn't
okay,
mean to
whichever,
complicate
that's fine.
things. Yeah. I'm just, because so much of District 1 is not in the
That's
No, I
CRA,
understand.
I
Trying
didn't
to
want-
make it-
I didn't want people to think,
It's
well, I live in
clinical or-
District 1,
Yeah,
I'm
we don't wanna
totally
exclude
that.
excluded.
Mhm.
So
Right.
maybe we'll come up with a number for within, out of the 38, maybe we'll say 10 units for outside, or do we want to be?
No.
I think we should just not complicate and just say North
Okay.
Miami
Correct.
resident and just give everybody a fair
Okay,
shot.
that's,
Yeah.
well, that's true too.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
that's
the best
kind
way.
of the best way.
Because
The one thing that I wanted to point out, or what I wanted to ask Madam Annabo, Emmanuel, do we have the pricing as of yet? Because as we're looking at Miami-Dade County's AMI, it is
Right.
Oh my
very,
God, it's
very high.
75.
So with AMI units, the pricing is done through the income limit and rent limits. So I do believe we had handouts that we can provide.
Okay. So, do you need a motion from us on the lottery process? Or you okay with?
No.
just the
We are gonna,
directive?
I'm
Okay.
gonna ask for board action. We're not doing a resolution tonight, but I would like to have board action on it.
Okay, so we could just vote.
Sure,
Okay.
if Madam Clerk is clear on how to phrase the action.
So just so that I'm clear, it's a North Miami resident pool. We said 2 years,
Yes,
and it's gonna be a lottery.
yes.
And that,
Yes.
is that the only thing that you're gonna be requiring for, I guess, your pre-screening
Your
of these
pre-screening.
38 applicants?
So
Yes.
our screening will be that they meet the AMI qualification just by income, and that they are know that you're asking for their preference, that they're residents of City of North Miami. Once we have done that level of vetting, we will do the lottery based on that, and we provide names to the developers in that order.
Okay.
Okay.
And I think the conversation all of us should be having with the developers, some of the requirements at this, I don't think nobody in North Miami would be eligible, but we need to look at that moving down in the future, because
And
they are very.
that is something that I've always kind
will
of
work on
cautioned us
that.
about the 80, the
I did not
AMI, because when we're saying 80 to 120, I know we're calling it workforce, I know we're calling it affordable, but it's not affordable for North Miami because our AMI in North Miami is way lower than Miami-Dade County, and they're held to the Miami-Dade County AMI standard.
And
So- And I know that this is, Gardens residency, not to pick on you guys, but they were the first
You're on-
ones, and
you're
you
on
know.
page one.
Yeah, you're on page one, you're the first one that's leasing, and you're kind of the first one that, we're here having to create guidelines for. But some things that came up in my meeting with the developer was that they're only able to provide one-bedroom and studios. And I thought that it was gonna be a mixture, because we have a lot of families in
I
North
did
Miami.
too.
And so that was the issue that
But
came up
there,
in.
there are also some other concern, but I think part of our strategy, we could possibly have those meetings. Because there's one other red flag on here, and I don't know.
The
So I
two-time
think
income.
Well, I don't wanna name them, some other stuff, and then, we could name the number. I think, well, it's a separate, item by itself, number 2. So those things, we don't wanna put it on record, but it's on the document that I think we could work with the developer and see what we could do, because at this point, it doesn't matter who we have. Those are not a lot of the pools of the folks, and we need to be careful if we say we're helping our residents, or we want people to come in and kind of.
I have a question. So, in reference to what Board Member Timothy just mentioned about the units, what is the allocation? And what's the allocation?
right now, we've been informed by the developer that we'll be doing the 38 units on studios and ones. Our agreement does not have a mix with this particular agreement. Other agreements does have a mix of the unit mixes that we have. So
So going forward, we
Well,
should
yes.
ask that 2s and 3s
No,
or
but
whatever.
is there?
They
is-
have. This
is-
one's the one that doesn't.
Can we have a mix? I mean, can we ask? I mean, so there's nothing that says that we don't have it either, right?
Correct.
So there's just no conversation.
correct.
So while we're having this conversation,
Mm-hmm.
can we have a mix? Because if we, so the point to my colleagues is that the whole point of fighting for affordable housing is to actually help our families. And I'm not saying that we can't help single families, but we know the needs. We know that, 1-1, that's not really helping, that's not helping that's not getting to what we're, our goal. So I want to know, if we can have this, if there can be some conversation and negotiation with the developer to talk about, more than just 1-1. That's not, this is, I think, you understand what I mean?
No,
So
we-
we're learning, as we go in, and I know that we have made sure that we've, in others cases, because I know when I talk to a developer, typically like, okay, how many are set asides, how many are threes? Because I notice a lot of developers are not necessarily doing 3-2s. So I'm like, look, in North Miami, we have large families here, so I encourage that. So what I'm saying is, is it something that we can go back and negotiate
But
and
that-
have some more than 1-1 in studio? That's not going to
Vice-
help our people.
Yes, Vice Chair, I think prior to you coming in, that's one of the things that we were talking about as a group. There are some meetings that we probably need to have.
I'm referring to this.
No, well, I don't think we could do that without us. It's
But
something
no,
that we
that-
have to talk about it with the developer. We
Correct,
can't-
correct.
Yeah,
That's
we
what I'm
can't do it
saying.
now in public, yeah.
Yeah, and I know I had the conversation with a
Yeah.
developer, and, they did say
Yeah.
maybe moving forward in the year two,
Yeah, we
they
could
might
do-
make some
yeah.
available, but I think as, in the process, before you guys do, what is it, the declaration, some,
Yes.
yeah, in that process, we're able to maybe fine tune it and ensure that that's where we, say that this is what the city needs moving forward until the life of the CRA, which is what, 2044?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So-
There are some things in here, no matter what we do, how many we have, that is so troublesome to at least, like, I did not, and we gotta make sure moving forward that we do not have those things if we're giving that amount of money away that, because I don't think you'll have that many people in North Miami that we're trying to help to meet the first one based on the requirements from the first one.
From the AMI qualification.
Just the first one.
Just to
Even-
confirm, are
even
we
with the
Miami
other one.
Beach, Kendall, or we're the second one, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach? Because we're at 80%, right? Because there's one that starts at 903, 903, and then the other one that's at 1445. Which one are we?
No, I understand the question. I think this is all of
Miami.
it, right? So if you,
We'd have to go to the cumulative at the bottom, median
Yes.
74.
Hold on. Around?
Am I-
Hold on, so we don't start at 903, or we start at 2530? I thought we were Miami-Dade, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. Yeah, that's for our studio, and then it goes to 1580, 48 for a one-bedroom. So I'm trying to see where Miami to Miami Beach, Kendall, but I think it's like South Miami-Dade, and then the other one is like Northern Miami-Dade. But
So we would be in Melbourne or?
so from what I'm reading here, a studio would be 1445 and a one-bedroom would be 1548.
That's the county.
Yes.
Yes, that is for the county.
that's for us.
That's what
Well,
was-
I know, well, the problem would be, like she mentioned, our median income is so low compared to, our median income is so low compared to the county. How do we work that out?
Are we able to
Unfortunately,
create
the AMI, this is at 80%
Yeah, I
AMI,
know.
the studio rent would be 1445 and then the one-bedroom rent will be 1548. This is the table that we do abide by.
If I may, Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
yeah, I think to that we need to go back and revisit those numbers, because if we are talking about helping now with this kind of money, I don't know exactly who we're trying to help with a studio. That doesn't make any sense.
So
They're all going to ask for more money if we want to help.
this is,
I understand the concern. I do want to make sure that we are clear that what's before the board tonight are for the projects that have already been executed.
Yes.
These grant agreements are done. They're no longer in negotiation. These projects are about to CO in a few months.
Right.
So these are, I'm not sure how to affect, and then again, the rental prices are what are stated from Florida Housing Finance Corporation. We are literally just going by a table regarding AMI units. Now, what the market rates may be, they're definitely not these prices. So there is not much control that the NMCRA will have as far as the rents are just what are stated on this table for any, just
So,
going by the
we-
AMI
We
category.
would have
As
to
a-
go to very low.
As a as a follow-up questions, them criterias, who set them up?
Each project has their own criteria of how they want, what criteria they want their tenants to meet.
But who? I'm
The
talking about-
project owners,
Okay, so that's from the developer.
that's correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to.
Question for you. Do we get our numbers based on the census, or where do we get our, medium income numbers? Is it,
We rely on what is published from
From the
HUD.
coun-
that-
from HUD,
and-
okay.
Yes, and they do it countywide, so.
okay.
And so that was
city
something that
data.
came up in the LDRs.
Okay.
They requested for the city to define affordable housing. And at that time, I tried to encourage Derek Cook to use our North Miami AMI, but we were told by the state that we couldn't.
Oh,
So that was a LDR. That would have been a time in the LDR where we could have defined affordable housing in the city of North Miami, but they stated that we can't. We have to use the county's definition.
county,
Yes, which
okay.
is a big discrepancy because now,
Sure is.
you know, it's 74,000 when we're in the 30,000s in North Miami.
I think we're 49. Are we at 40 something? Go ahead.
So for simplifying tonight, I see that we've sort of like gone off on a
We
little bit of a
good.
path. Is it sufficient to say we're gonna establish a lottery for
Yes,
selection
yes,
of
we
these
did.
Oh, yeah,
units
yes,
yes,
at
yes.
these three projects? That we're gonna give preference to
To-
North Miami residents and
2
CRA
years.
residents, or I guess CRA
North
residents.
Miami.
North Miami.
Yeah.
And Barbara, I apologize for not knowing your last name after that. That's legal. It's legal that we do that. Ms. Weissman, I'm sorry.
My last name is Riceberg. Thank you.
Weisberg, sorry.
For the record, I'm sitting in for Steven Zelkowitz, the CRA Board Attorney. I'm Barbara Riceberg. So your question is it legal to have a
Is
preference?
it legal to give preference to North Miami CRA residents and city residents in the process of us awarding?
Yes, that is
Lottery.
permissible. There's
Okay.
nothing to prevent you from doing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my suggestion, you know, knowing that we've got a lot of information for future projects, and there are gonna be a lot of projects that come to us still yet, for tonight, we can say we're gonna establish a lottery,
Yes.
and we're gonna give preference to North Miami CRA residents and city residents in that order for the X number of
With-
units.
Okay.
Who's the residence for at least 2 years?
I did have
What about
one
the,
question. This is for the board. I don't, yeah, don't. Did you guys want to also include North Miami employees in part of the rule? Just in case that you don't meet the 38. But,
Yeah,
but maybe not give, you know, oh, then it'll be harder. Because I was gonna say, maybe they could get like 1 point instead of 2 points, but then it's not a point system. Never
right,
mind.
it's a lottery, right.
It is a lottery. So,
So do I need to make that a motion? Do you need that motion or direction?
yes, we would like to take
You
board
need
action.
direction?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll
And-
make a motion that we establish a lottery that
Yes.
gives preference to
North
North Miami CRA residents and city residents in that order.
Within residence of 2 years.
2 years.
Okay.
We,
Up to
Second.
years.
I think we, yeah, to make it easy, we just going to go with the
North Miami.
North Miami city resident for 2 years.
years.
That's
Yeah,
right.
let's take the
Yeah.
CRA about
Yeah.
it
So I'll
out of it.
2
restate my
years, we
motion
should.
for clarity. No?
No. I'm sorry, I want to clarify. I hope if, I prefer personally the 1 year resident in CRA and then the 2 years outside of the CRA boundaries.
Well, that's what we're saying.
Right.
That would be,
Allow me to restate that.
Sure.
You all tell me if you don't like that.
yeah, I know what
Right,
you're
right.
saying.
You don't understand?
So,
This is-
here's my motion. That we establish a lottery,
Yes.
and that preference, I don't know what the cumulative number of units is right here.
It's 38. We'll deal with the first one.
It's approximately 100. 83. Thank you. So we establish a lottery for the 83 units, that preference for those 83 be given to CRA residents for 1 year of the last year. And
Now
if
we're
there are
complicated.
still leftover numbers, another level of preference be given to city residents
The
for 2 years.
The
Does that make
complication
sense?
becomes, if somebody move in from the CI within a year, then we saying they are qualified based on somebody who had lived outside of North Miami for 2 years, then they'll get the preference. So what, your point was better. What Councilwoman Timothy was stating, 2 years, period.
Yeah,
Because
2 years,
majority of the
2 years,
people
period.
would be residents anyhow. So
Right.
2 years resident of North
Okay.
Miami.
All right, to
Yeah,
simplify.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what So the will of the board is 2
2
years?
years, North
As long as you're a
Miami.
North Miami
You-
resident
2
for
years.
2 years,
You good.
you qualify.
You qualify to enter the lottery. Yeah, because looking at this, I don't think nobody from no CRA thing gonna qualify for the first 38. That's just my, that we gotta
so
deal
that,
with.
there's
That's the
my
motion?
motion.
Yes.
Is it clear?
Yes,
Madam
yes, it's clear in its second. I seconded, I said I did.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin, as stated. The motion was seconded by Board Member Desilme. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries with a 5-0 vote.
And please do what you can, Ms. Emmanuel, to meet with the Gardens residents. I know I have a meeting. I know he's here. We have a meeting with him, and all board members who are concerned about this, please meet with him privately, on some of these requirements, at least for our 38 units, because this is already going off the cliff.
Understood. I would
Thank
like to make some other announcements regarding this process. So we do have a dedicated email for anybody who wants to send in information or applications. It is nmcraliving@northmiamifl.gov.
Yeah, we're gonna do a whole campaign so people
NMCRA
will
We will,
know.
yes.
Living?
I just want to put it on the record.
Yes,
So
Yeah, we'll send it.
nmcraliving@northmiamifl.gov. We do have a form that will go live on March 4th on the NMCRA website. And we do have paper applications that are going to be available at our office, which is, the address is 735 Northeast 125th Street, North Miami,
Ms.
Florida.
Emmanuel, we gotta coordinate where we put it out there and then
Absolutely.
get a PR thing, the radio, so people would not, because people don't watch the meeting, so we gotta just make
No,
sure we
I
do
know.
everything.
I just wanted to put this on the record and make
Yeah.
sure that, to
I'm good.
apprise you that we do have these systems in place to be able to handle applications.
Right. Okay, we good? So motion to adjourn?
Oh, is it, are you having public comment?
Ain't nobody here for public comments. Nothing here? Public comments open?
Yes, they're coming.
Okay, good job. I'm hungry.
Eileen B. Cava, you
Oh.
guys have already voted. I'd like to
Okay.
point out to you, do I have to put my address?
Yes, yes.
13350 Northeast 3rd Court. I want to point out to you that you advertised that there would be public comments on this, on the letter that was sent out, but there was no public comments before you voted. It turns out, my understanding is that you said anybody in North Miami, correct? That was the final decision? Okay.
Yes.
I have no problem with that. That's actually what I was going to prefer that you do. And here is why. The annexed area of North Miami, none of them are qualified CRA areas. And that is really not fair, especially for my area that was annexed by force without a vote. We don't get anything, and we have a 250% increase in taxes. And none of our money, all our money goes towards CRA, but we don't qualify for anything. Now, I do understand that the people in my area own our homes, but we do have people who are renting in that area, or we have elderly parents or other things that would like to probably go out on their own and live in the area. And it would be good if they can be able to rent and move into some of these affordable housing without it being called CRA. So that's the reason I'm really happy that you decided not to make it mandatory CRA. And I'd like you to consider that as you think of other things in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Public hearing is open on the item. Again, public hearing is closed.
I'd like to,
Go
yeah, I'm
ahead.
sorry,
Go
before
ahead,
we
yeah, real
adjourn,
quick.
I'd like to, thank the resident for her comment and want to let her know publicly that I have been working. So just for people that are watching, the third court was annexed in 2015. It was unincorporated date, and then it became the city of North Miami. And I have been working and with the CRA administration and trying to include the donut holes that are near the CRAs that are near the CRAs to include them. So that is something, it's in the works. It's the process is that we have to do a finding of necessity.
A finding of a
And
necessity,
so that,
yes.
that takes time, and so that is in the work. I mean, that wasn't announced publicly, but since it's brought up, I just want to make sure that I've been having those conversations with our CRA administration, because in my district in particular, there are little areas that are in, I would say, a blighted situation that needs that needs the presence of the CRA, but that still has to go through the process to be included. So just wanted to put that on the record. Thank you.
Thank you so much. May I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. See you guys at 7.
I have a motion made by Board Member Galvin to adjourn, seconded by Board Member Charles. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries with a 5-0 vote. The time is now 6:23 p.m.